Hey guys, welcome to Musketeer. In this fifth episode of the series Artificial Intelligence, we will look at how AI actually learns. There are 5 major types of AI learning: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning, hybrid learning, and transfer learning. Before we dig in, I wanted to tell you that I'm working on another video where we will discuss about what jobs AI replaces so that you won't be negatively affected by the job displacement that AI is going to create. Let us look at supervised learning. At school, we learn from inputs given by our teachers and also the corrections that they make in our learning. Supervised learning is akin to this. We give labeled input to the AI and also the output corresponding to that input. Based on these two, the AI will determine the mapping. Later, humans can give insights to make it better and better. To do this, AI uses a neural net. Let us quickly look what a neural net actually is. It is a computer program that performs just like the neurons in our brain. Media actually hypes saying that we are trying to create an artificial brain. But more number of neurons does not mean an intelligent brain. Look at the example of the brain of a sperm whale. It weighs 17 pounds. Our brain weighs only 3 pounds. Who is more intelligent? We may know a little about the brain, like how the neurons function, how the blood supply works, but we know nothing how the brain functions as a whole. Let us take the simplest example of a neural network. This neuron has to determine the price of a laptop based on the screen size. We give several screen sizes and their corresponding prices, and the neuron will come up with a function. This is the simplest form of neural net. But laptop prices do not just depend on the screen size, do they? So let's add some more neurons to our neural net. Let's start with the screen size and screen resolution. Based on these inputs, it tells you the display quality. Then we have the hard disk type. Is it a traditional one or a solid state drive? CPU and RAM also come into this neuron. These all determine the performance. Then we have ratings from customers and aesthetics, which give input to the build quality. Aesthetics also matter for social acceptance of the laptop. And also, the size of the screen and type of hard disk determine the weight of the laptop, in turn, the portability. All these second-tier neurons are attached to another neuron which has another linear function. It then outputs the price. This is a neural network in its simplest form. The super interesting thing about the neural networks is that we don't have to tell it what these intermediate qualities are. We just give input A and response B. It comes up with all the intermediate qualities that matter. It may even figure out things that we have not consciously considered. Let's look at some other examples of supervised learning. We give emails as input and which of them are spam as output. The supervised learning algorithm comes up with a model where you can give a new email and it will tell you if it's spam or not. Similarly, if you give a tissue scan as input and which of those tissue scans are actually cancerous as an output, the supervised learning algorithm will determine a model that is as good as doctors can identify these tumors. Other examples are audio to text, translation from one language to another, and the most important of all of them is finding the click-through rate on an ad. So now you can see how important it is for Google to develop AI. The next method of learning for artificial intelligence is unsupervised learning. In supervised learning, we have given labeled input and corresponding output. In unsupervised learning, we are not labeling the input and not giving the output at all. Just this bunch of input data is given and the algorithm is asked to find patterns in the input itself. Let us look at an example of unsupervised learning. Let's give 10 million images. These images are a combination of animals and trees. Once we run the algorithm, it will cluster all the animals into one group and also the trees into another cluster. This is called clustering algorithm. If we ask it to divide these 10 million images into 10 clusters, it probably will come up with different types of animals and different types of trees. In supervised learning, we had the price of laptop earlier and also the screen size. It could actually look at these two and check if its model is running properly or not. But that is not the case in unsupervised learning because there is no output or any label for the input itself. How will it know it is doing the correct job or not? When it classifies these images, using its model, it is asked to generate the image it actually had input for. So it generates a whole new image from scratch and compares it with the input that was provided earlier. The closeness of these images determines the performance of the algorithm. So it does it in many iterations and comes up with a better model each time. The next type of learning is reinforcement learning. This is how we humans and animals learn most of the time. Let's start with an example of playing a video game. Can we do it with the supervised learning algorithm? We had to play billions of games and show the high score on each of those games to the algorithm, and it will determine which way to play the game. But this is impractical. Can you describe why unsupervised learning is not ideal for this as well? Leave your comments below. Reinforcement learning is where the algorithm is given an incentive to improve itself. The higher the score, the better it is playing. Based on this, it will try to maximize its high score and improve itself in the process. Another example of reinforcement learning was from Google. Its DeepMind algorithm used reinforcement learning to teach a stick figure how to walk in a physics engine. The next type of AI learning is hybrid learning. Fraud detection is one of the important things for a financial institution. Supervised learning can be used to show these type of transactions result in fraud. Unsupervised and reinforcement learning can actually determine new types of frauds we do not know yet, but when they occur, they can raise a red flag. So the combination of other methods of learning is called the hybrid learning. And finally, the fifth one, transfer learning. This is a developing area in the field of machine learning. Transfer learning is a method where the knowledge gained from solving one problem is applied to solve another problem. For example, a machine learning algorithm learns that grass is green in color. It can use this knowledge and transfer it to solving another problem. This problem is converting black and white crop images into color and color these images with green wherever there is grass. Those are the 5 ways in which AI learns. Hope you now have a better understanding of how AI learns. Andrew Ng, who is probably the most prominent figure in the AI, said this: "Anything a typical human can do with 1 second of thought can probably now or soon be automated. What are the repercussions? It will affect many jobs." In upcoming episodes, we will discuss about what jobs AI affects, how can we better prepare for them by choosing a better career, and what are the solutions that governments and other organizations can take to prevent mass unemployment. Please subscribe and leave your feedback in the comments. Thank you and have a great day. Supervised learning models can detect fraud within 40 milliseconds.